I'm one of your hosts, OG Hollis. To my left, we've got Master Chief. Behind the okay. There we go. Got to get a round of applause for the Master Chief.
Oh, yeah.
And then Tiny behind the computer that makes it all possible. We got Big Mike. Oh. And then we're doing a special Veterans Day podcast today. We're going to talk about a few things. So we've got joined with us is one of our special guests. We've got Pico.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Yes, sir. So
Yes,
Pico did some time in the military. Did some time. I said.
Sounds about right.
Not getting started off there.
Especially when I was at Fort Polk. That was some hard times.
What was it like in Fort Polk? So what years did you serve and what branch were you in?
Well, I was in the Army. I did a 3-year hitch from 75 to 78. And yeah, we didn't get along very well. And so I got out and then came back in 80 and retired in 97.
Okay. So you did 3 years up front and then went away for a while. Didn't seem to work out too well or you didn't get along with it too well. And then you joined back and did 17 years to get to 20?
Yes.
Gotcha. So wait, how many years was it between your original 3 years and then whenever you went back in?
About 2.
2 years?
Yeah.
2 years
I think
off?
it's just under 2 years. I got out in June of 78 and went back in April of 80. So just under 2 years.
Gotcha.
Right.
And was there something happening at the time that kind of led you to want to go back to it, or did you just find that you missed it after you had left?
Well, my wife got pregnant. We didn't have any insurance, and we needed insurance. I knew that Army was the way to get insurance right away.
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
so I went back in, and I said, well, if I'm going back in, I'm going to, make it to 20.
Yeah, and get your retirement and
Good.
have
Yeah.
insurance
Yeah,
and health care
perfect.
for the rest of your life at that point.
Well, not really the rest of your life.
Oh, really?
TRICARE quits on you when you turn 65, so I no longer have insurance.
So
I'm
you
back
have
where
to
I
switch
was
to Medicaid
20 odd years
at that
ago.
point?
Yeah, but I can't afford Medicaid because I work for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that stuff
self-
gets expensive.
Self-employed
yeah.
guys get the end of the stick on the Medicaid.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah. Even Scott can agree with that.
Yeah, he's self-employed. He's not 65.
So how old were you when you went in for the first time?
I was 18.
Really?
Yeah,
18.
I was actually they had in those days they had a delayed entry, so you could raise your right hand, say yeah, I'll do it, and come in at a date determined in
Right.
the future that agreed upon with you and the recruiter. And so it was December '74 when I said yeah, I'll come in at the end of June of '75. So 'cause
I'm
I wanted to
thinking-
graduate from high school.
Isn't it when in high school they
Was there
made
like a-
you sign
yeah,
up?
was there a
Didn't I think
draft?
we had to sign something when we were in high school.
It depends on where you went. I went to high school up on Long Island, and so
So I thought they
don't-
made us you sign up. You
Yeah, I
just
think they made us do that too.
okay.
Yeah, everyone has to sign up
Yeah.
for the draft whenever you turn 18.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
they had just gotten rid of that.
Oh.
Okay.
So I got my selective service card. The draft, it was called the draft card in those days. I
Right.
had gotten that. I wasn't going to get it, but I said, well, I'm 18, and the only way I can prove that I'm 18, because back in those days you could drink legally at 18.
Sure, sure.
So I got my draft card, and then in that time frame, they got rid of the draft, and and so somewhere along there they got rid of the draft. And then when
Wow.
you guys came along, then it became mandatory. So,
But I
for
don't
men,
think
but not for women.
I don't
Yeah,
think they've
that's
actually drafted anyone though.
No, they have not.
since then.
No, they
the
haven't.
last draft was around my grandpa's era, and he got lucky. He had his eye poked out by a bird when he was like 8
Really?
years old. So he has a glass eye.
I know a
Bird?
Yeah, my grandpa was climbing up a tree and was trying to steal eggs out of a bird's nest, and the mama bird came home and poked his eye out.
Wow.
Or I don't know if it poked it out, but it disabled his eye at that point.
Wow.
I know a guy that the draft was going around. He used to own the golf course,
Okay.
and so the draft was going around, and I guess if you were the only son or something
Yeah.
like that, you didn't have to go.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to ask if that was a rule.
And
That is a
he
rule.
ended up going to college, and it was nothing but girls at this college because everybody's in the draft.
That is awesome.
He said he was the only guy in this whole college.
Wow.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He said it was pretty awesome, but he actually ended up going, and
He wound up joining still?
he ended up joining.
Yeah.
So he
I
joined
think
on his
he
own terms.
flunked out of college or something.
Right.
And then he
Didn't
bought a
we all?
semi truck and became a millionaire. Now he on the golf course. You know what I'm saying? Like crazy,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
It sounded
I
like it worked
love
out for him
I
in
love
the end.
stories like that.
I love the self-made stories because it is usually some guy that runs a semi company or an
Yeah,
appliance
that's
repair
what it
company or
was.
a locksmith company that is self-made, works hard, and then hey, they may own the golf course one day. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
and then all the
Wow.
lawyers and doctors are paying them to play around the golf.
So, Carl, your second term, where did you go? What was it? Did you 80? I don't know what was happening in the 80s.
Nothing really happened in the 80s, till late 80s.
Late
Then-
80s.
Then we got in this little to do in Iraq.
Right. Yes.
Dude kind of tried to flex his muscles, and we said, "No,
Right.
it ain't gonna happen."
Right.
So
Didn't take us long in that one.
No.
We still lost some people, but
yeah, we did. I mean, but my mother, the pacifist, when that was all over, my mother, the pacifist. I say that again for emphasis, because what she said was we didn't finish the job. Thinking.
do you agree?
Well, we had to go back, so
I know.
yes,
Yes,
I do.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean,
100%.
as a soldier, it's like, okay, I guess maybe I'm ancient school because I just feel like people like Patton and MacArthur kind of had it right. You go to war, you just kind of like keep at it until they no longer have the desire to
100%.
to go.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, things are going to come back and bite you in the ass.
Right. You think Afghanistan's going to come back and get us?
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So you
100%.
agree fighting like in their country will prevent them from coming over here and bringing their beliefs and the war over here?
I don't. I think they'll always want to do that, but I think there has to be a deterrent. It's like, is it going to be worth my effort to come and do this?
I'm going to agree with Carl on that.
I mean,
Yep.
I mean, do you think it comes down to like a money thing in a way?
Oh, it's all.
No, I don't.
I mean, it could. Everybody could look. I mean, I guess in a way it could always be about the money, but it's like if you got to look at ROI, return on investment. Is it going to
Right.
be a good return on your investment? Which
Correct.
is not always money, but it's your time, your effort, or whatever.
In life, I'm just thinking, I don't think if we just leave them alone, they're not going to come over here, I wouldn't think. I mean, maybe. But they had oil. This is crazy. We could have actually went there and negotiated and maybe even took some of the oil back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they just hate. I'm going to say they very generally, but from what I understand, like the extremist Islamic groups hate the Western culture and the Western ideologies.
Yep.
So I don't know, maybe they would hate us enough that they would be willing to come. I mean, whatever you think about 9/11, like it still happened, and they were, willing to sacrifice themselves and basically kamikaze the planes in order to kill American
I
citizens.
think
at
it was
that
the
point.
Saudis.
Saudis.
Well, extremists are a different breed. I mean, they're going to be extremists. They're extremists for a reason because they're
Correct.
just, they're unhinged. Whether it's far left or far right, extremist is an extremist.
We have them here.
Right.
Yeah, we do. I mean,
Yeah.
and every
Lots of
culture,
them.
every
Yeah.
society has them. I mean, it's
Yes.
not anything new.
Really?
But it's, and they're the ones who make it bad for everybody else. But I mean, so there's really, with an extremist, they get this idea in their head. It's really not much you can do to get them to change their mind. I don't
100%.
think. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Right. That's true.
so, but I've worked with a
Is
lot
that
of,
like a serial killer? No. That's like an extremist?
He
Pretty
is an
much, yeah.
extremist.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm trying to think in my mind extremist. At first I was thinking like
Where's your
paragliding or
mind,
something
Hunter?
like that. I'm like that guy's pretty extreme.
That's extreme.
I don't know.
I don't know where your mind. I don't know where your mind goes sometimes.
Yeah, I know. Me neither, man. I'm just thinking
yeah,
of something else.
That's
yeah,
true,
but it-
though.
this
You're
is-
right. That's on it.
But no, yeah, serial killer. I could think that they have no remorse for anybody. That seems pretty extremist.
It is.
Charles Manson.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
That's an
Yeah.
extremist.
Charles
Waco.
Manson.
Seventh-day Adventist.
okay.
Okay.
We're going down the roster.
Charles
Sorry.
Manson, though, do you know why?
That's
Not why Charles Manson, but do you know what happened to Charles Manson in his life that sort of maybe steered him in that path?
I'm figuring he was abused.
He was actually
Pornography.
involved in in a government.
Shoot, I'm in trouble.
Taking down some bad vibes.
I'm thinking we're all in trouble. Oh my gosh.
Charles Manson was in the government experiment MK Ultra.
Oh yeah, the MK Ultra.
Oh,
That's
okay.
Yeah, so that's where they brought in American civilians, and I don't know if they were criminals or like where they got the civilians from, but they brought in American civilians, did extremely large, basically almost like clinical trials on acid and LSD.
Oh,
so they
yes.
basically gave them liquid and
I've seen a movie
regular
about this. I
forms
feel
of
like.
LSD, and so I mean, if you take enough LSD, trust me, it'll fry some brain
So
cells.
they
son.
tested it on him. He was
He
one
was
of
a
them.
part of the MK Ultra project, and they kept it under the table for a long time, even after he became the serial killer and the crazy guy that they make movies about now. But
it was like at brothels and stuff, right? Like
That's
guys
crazy.
would go there and get laced and all that kind of stuff.
So what he does is he
so.
trips out, sees God, sees a path, follows the path,
and now he killed everyone.
and then he kills everybody.
Guys,
And then
guys, he
what-
didn't kill nobody.
his minions.
his followers.
So
did.
let's do this.
we went to conspiracy theories pretty quick here, Carl.
sorry.
So
I see that.
when I'm talking about when Carl was talking to us about the voting, they voted in a dead guy. Everybody knew he was dead, but they still voted on it.
So hang on. So this was Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania State House.
So is that Senate, Congress? What is?
I think whatever the Pennsylvania version is of state representative.
Okay.
Because
okay.
Pennsylvania is a commonwealth, they may use different terms.
Right.
But
Okay.
apparently he died on October 22nd, and it was too late to take him off the ballot. They said, well, just, hold an election, and then we'll,
Was
we'll
he
sort things out.
Republican or was he Democrat?
He wasn't a Republican.
He was a Democrat.
No, yeah.
Okay.
That's what I can only see
Well,
Democrats do.
I won't say that he was a Democrat or Republican, but he identified as blue.
As blue.
Oh, okay.
Gosh.
Okay.
So I mean, I don't want to be judgmental.
And then did he win?
yes, he did.
So he
Holy
did-
cow, dude!
Yes, he did.
That's unreal.
He won.
So post death, everyone still elected him in. Is that right?
That's crazy.
That
Wow.
shows that there should almost be some kind of requirement that you should have to do to be able to vote.
Show up.
How many? Yeah. Hey, you
that's
ain't
for
even got to be a
starters.
citizen. Like, hey, just show up. But-
I'm surprised
don't
they just haven't made a holiday about this yet. Like, hey, this is a holiday you can have off. Go vote. Go do your.
You mean the day that voting happens?
day that
Everybody gets off that day. Everybody goes.
Well,
to
like
vote.
when Grant was talking about showing.
Oh,
people
that's a
showing up.
great idea, Brandon.
They do early voting though. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if you really
know.
want to vote, you have plenty of opportunity. And they stay open until like
it's
8
true, I
p.m.
know.
I think what Brandon's saying though is just like dedicate a day, even if you don't do the early voting, you get this day off of work, and you know it's called voting day.
Yeah.
So
But,
Okay.
but what's
you know
what's going to change anything? They'll still elect a dead guy.
100.
They're still going to
Yeah,
rig
They're
the
gonna
election.
check mark that ballot for that dead dude.
You know, how do you know when you watch the news and they show these people that, like right now, what states are still not finished voting yet because they're still counting?
Well, see, that's why I'm scratching my head. Okay, when I was a kid, they didn't have all these computers,
No, correct.
and they had votes in usually by the end of the week.
Yeah.
And now we've got all this high tech stuff.
correct.
And it takes way longer.
and
all
it
of a
takes
sudden.
it takes longer, and the closer the election, the longer it takes.
It makes no sense.
It's like, okay,
So y'all didn't have this problem in the
No,
90s.
No.
We took a pencil and you circled and
That's
maybe
right.
been a pen, but
yeah.
you circled and you just turned it in.
But I got to
did that?
thinking when they
I
elected
was younger.
when they elected this dead
I'm
guy
just
in
playing,
Pennsylvania, I
Scott.
got to thinking. I grew up in New York, and they had a political machine called Tammany Hall, and the slogan was, vote early, vote often. They would pay the Irish immigrants in beer. Every time they would go vote, they would give them a beer.
Good deal.
They vote 6-8 times a day. They'd have
Oh shit!
Go
they
to
go-
every different voting poll place and vote at every one.
or just the same one all day.
Just keep showing up to the same one.
Tammany Hall ran the city. It didn't matter.
Like
Go
riding
to
a roller
cemeteries and write down names.
Wow.
They just change their last name every time they show up in line.
coaster. Yeah.
Candidate X got 5 million votes. There's only 250,000 people in his district, but he got 5.
That's you.
That's the
can't-
way it was
sense.
presented to me when I was in high school.
Right.
Shoot.
Right.
I'd love to be that
crazy.
bar. That guy made. That guy lost some money. What am I talking
It's
about?
just
No,
weird.
no.
that-
See, the political machine will takes care of the businesses.
Oh,
That's correct.
that is
Yeah.
true.
100%.
They do take care of the business.
Well, you can't convince me that they are not changing votes and rigging elections in America. And in South America, it's really undercovered right now. I think it's Brazil or something, that there's like 5 million people in the streets that are protesting and in uproar over the fact that they determined that they're rigging the votes and they're using the same Dominion voting machines as the Americans
That we're
are,
using.
as
Oh
the
my
United
gosh.
States is. But nobody's reporting it, but there's 5 million people in the streets that are in uproar saying that they're rigging the election and they want fair election and everything.
See,
But-
that's what's
but the
weird.
thing is,
the
though,
right
what-
we never go out and protest anything.
No,
We're all at
I've
work.
always noticed that.
Yeah,
I've
we,
noticed that.
the left.
We're all
though,
at work.
We're
though.
busy working,
If it's
paying
a-
for them.
Correct.
Exactly
You know, and if
right.
something happens on the left, they burn down their cities and they do all this stuff.
Very true.
But we don't. But they did accuse us of trying to take the Capitol over one time.
Oh my gosh! And
Yeah.
that dude, you
That
can't
was
tell me that wasn't a plot by like Antifa or something. They basically
Oh,
let
that
them in
was
like a
ridiculous.
Have
herd
you
of
not
cattle.
seen what
so-
those dudes look like? They look like they came from their mom's basement.
Yeah. The one guy, dude, I had people messaging me thinking I was the guy with the big headdress on in the Oval Office. Guy
Dude,
with the big
I
long beard and long
wish.
hair.
Dang, bro, that guy's doing time.
Yeah,
Yeah, that guy,
you can't rush.
you
the
don't want to be
Capitol.
him.
It's just ridiculous the way things are. I think the voting, I think it's rigged. I don't think Florida, too many, with our governor and everybody, mostly Republicans voted.
Yeah.
I was worried because we had so many Democrats moving to Florida.
Well, what about
In my
Holmes
mind, I was
County?
thinking
Remember
it was-
Holmes County the other
It
night?
wasn't blue.
It
was
wasn't?
blue, but it turned to red.
I
Yeah,
think
that way.
I think they're able to get by with it more in the major cities. When you look at the demographic of voters, it's all the major cities that are blue, and it's all the surrounding land and the rest of the country that's
Correct.
red. So I feel
Yeah.
like the more place of mass voting that's happening, it's the easier for them to smudge it or hide votes or change votes or
So,
whatever.
but what
I
what
agree.
do, what do y'all think would be
I
like
agree
a
too,
legit way where you couldn't rig the system in a way? What
I don't-
because no one would trust electronics in a way because even computers can be easily messed with and paper ballots can be messed with
How
too.
do
So-
I think anything is riggable.
exactly.
I think.
yes.
I mean, it just
Just
it
gotta
all
be
it just
trust.
all depends on as a locksmith. I tell people locks keep honest people honest.
Yes.
That's right.
The lock was not invented first.
Oh, yeah.
Theft was invented, and then he came up with a lock to keep
Yes.
somebody from stealing his stuff
Right.
again.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And so the good guys are always behind the bad guys.
Yes.
I remember as a kid growing up on Long Island, back in those days, the police in New York City carried service revolvers, 38s. And everybody in the universe carried 38s. Well, the bad guys started carrying 45s and bigger. And the police were saying, "Hey, we need bigger guns. We need bigger guns because we're not. This is just not working."
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember there was, and this is going back way. So hopefully I'm fairly accurate on this. It was a fight for a long time for cops to carry bigger guns.
Isn't it
Oh, yeah.
crazy?
So they could be more equally armed.
Yeah.
Okay, I got 6 shots. Yeah, I got 10.
Yeah.
My
Wow.
gun's
So-
bigger.
Shows we're behind.
Yeah,
It means we
and,
can't,
and
we can't
but
be ahead.
but I think I just think I think it's a mankind thing. The good guys are always trying to catch up to the
Right.
bad guys.
Yes.
It's
No
just
doubt.
it's
Why
just
that's
it's just the way it is. I mean, we try
Yeah.
to live our lives, but the bad guy comes in. You're not going to, and so we have to come up with a way to continue to live our lives.
It's the classic battle of evil versus good and
Yeah.
dark versus light.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good guys.
That
finish
yin and
last.
yang kind of deal.
In the words of the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I forgot. Oh,
That's what he said in the podium. I forgot. Hold on, let me get my piece of paper.
okay, here we go. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that.
Yes.
Yep.
Good job, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. And
Wow.
he
That
got
was deep.
Yes.
I get it.
That's the great Martin King, son.
Oh yeah.
He was deep.
Martin Luther King
Martin Luther King Jr.
Jr.
Ah, gotcha.
Yes, not the original.
Wow. That's good.
Yeah, MLK.
That's awesome.
But when you did your military there, where'd they have you travel to? I know you had to go to different locations besides Iraq. Was it they have you posted in different locations?
Yeah,
there,
I was a nomad.
Carl? You were a nomad there,
Yeah.
Pika.
Yeah, let's see.
He just dropped you off and said, "Hey man, you do whatever you want to do. We'll come back and get you later on."
So I did my basic training in Fort Dix, New Jersey, and then they sent me to Texas.
Fort Hood,
Not yet.
Mineral Wells.
Fort Sam Houston, San Antonio, and then I went to Fort Benning. Then I got out. Then I came back in and went to Fort Sam Houston again. Hold on. Then I went to Fort Gordon, which is in Georgia,
Okay.
and then I went to Mother Rucker.
Yes, sir.
we know where that's at.
Oh yeah.
Hunter
And,
didn't get it.
Fort Rucker.
Fort Rucker.
Replace the R with an F. Though.
I get it, man. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So that
Sometimes I'm
was
just
all
like-
that.
I was just thinking about. I'm sorry. I was just thinking about. Did your wife like all that moving around?
Some she did, some she didn't.
Yeah.
So
She's,
I mean,
she's been through every bit of it, though, right?
well, the first 3 years it was just me.
Okay.
And then I met her after I got out, and then everything, pretty much she's been with me. She had to come a little bit later,
Right.
sometimes. But so when I got back in '80, so from all that other to Mother Rucker, that took place in about, that was like a 2-year
Right.
period. I left there. I left Rucker in
hear that?
'82.
Right, go ahead.
That's my phone. I should
Oh,
use it.
I'm sorry.
It sounded like a pewter sound. They're like thinking, that, what is that?
Oh, we're gonna, our
Sorry,
It's
podcast.
the,
Our podcast is
Mother
gonna fail
Rucker was
again.
your favorite.
No. No, I mean, no. It was a good tour. My youngest was born there, so it had to have been good.
Yeah.
They have
yeah.
golf courses and stuff. Y'all just go out there and play some golf every now and then.
Just disc golf.
Yeah, you don't. There's no such thing as an army post without a golf course
Or a bowling alley.
or a bowling alley.
Yeah.
So,
that's probably the fun part
Or a
about
strip club in the surrounding
it. Intramural
area.
sports and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
yeah, but I didn't. I'm not athletically inclined. I can run like the wind, but that's my athleticism.
He's the only golfer at the table, so.
So I did play golf for a while when I was in prison. I mean, Fort Polk, Louisiana.
Is that in North
Fort
or South
Polk,
Louisiana?
Fort Polk, Louisiana. Now there's a place to stay away from.
Is that North?
Oh,
Yeah.
North
Ooh,
or
I know
South?
Louisiana.
Yeah, we know
Is
Louisiana.
that
You know
North
what?
or South Louisiana? Or Central?
Kind of central, all the way west. Kinda
West,
like,
up
yeah.
against Texas.
Yeah.
how sketchy was it over there? I've never been over there.
Probably pretty out there.
You're talking about the 80s. I don't know if it was that bad in the 80s.
Is that
was it?
near
That
like
was
Galveston?
we were in the 90s by
In the
then.
90s?
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
You said over there by Texas.
Galveston's on the shoreline.
Oh,
like, we're
This
talking-
was about halfway up. Somebody once said, "Oh man,
What do
you like
break-
the Gulf? You need to go down to Cameron." Cameron's a little town on the Gulf in Louisiana.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, all right, we'll go. So we got in the car, got the kids in the car, driving down the road, driving down. And I remember we're halfway up the state line, north to south, kind of on the border of Louisiana.
You played
Texas.
golf with your kids?
No, I don't play golf anymore.
Oh, I mean, no. You said we all packed up the kids and we went to play golf.
Oh no, I'm sorry. No, we didn't go play golf. We went brain fart.
Yeah, no, when you were talking to me, you were thinking golf, and I'm thinking, how in the world did you play golf with kids?
No, I did not. No. We went down to Cameron because they said Cameron is a really nice town.
Yeah.
It's a nice little town there on the Gulf, and you'll really enjoy it. So, I think that's the name of the town. I
Yeah, I'm
don't
trying
know
to
for
think.
sure.
We used to run
But-
Louisiana. I just-
So we got down there. We're driving down there, and it's all downhill. And we're just getting closer and closer to sea level. And I'm looking off to the side of the road, and there's cows standing in there, ankle deep in mud. And we get down, to Cameron, and we look at it, and it's and we look at the sand, and it's kind of like
Oh no!
brownish, rust-colored
Oh, yeah.
film on the water.
Oh,
Turn around, went back.
yes. Oh my God!
I don't know what you think is beautiful, but this ain't it.
Yeah, that's right.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Gosh,
So-
sewage smell.
Dude, Texas or I'm sure Louisiana, Texas beaches compared to Florida beaches, Panama City Beach, Destin is no comparison. Texas is like construction dirt and nasty water, and then Florida's just white, beautiful.
Florida
has
sand.
the
What
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
the one where they party at?
So you got Port Aransas, you got Galveston, you got where's the one I went to? How can I not remember it?
San Pablo.
Port St. Joe.
Port St. Lucie.
That's a little long ways from us.
I cannot remember where it was, but it was a fantastic time for sure. They do get down over there too.
I know where it's at.
was
I've heard
like-
about it.
I keep
Carl,
wanting to say
you,
South
are you
Florida.
Trump or DeSantis in 2024?
So is this official? He's running DeSantis?
No,
Oh.
yeah, you know he is.
There's a
Oh,
lot
I
of
know.
rumors.
That's been my gut for a while that he's
he,
running.
he,
but,
he won so big here. I think I have
who
no
did,
doubt.
Trump?
No,
Oh, DeSantis?
I'd have to go Team DeSantis a bit because Trump, I think, is getting older. I'd almost go DeSantis all the way.
I would lean towards DeSantis because well, Trump, yeah, he's getting a little. I don't think he wants to play the game again. But I think DeSantis is
I don't.
a lot more workable.
yeah.
I agree.
He's definitely more
So, I mean,
unifying.
he's not
than
gonna-
Trump. Trump's very
You know,
polarizing.
I realize, yeah, Trump is polarizing, and in a way, in a way that's good. But you got to learn to shut up at some point.
Just say the left
yeah.
is going to find every way they can to keep him from winning.
Like you said,
Yeah.
you don't think he wants to play the game again. This man got just every day he woke up to a news story about him or some way that the left was attacking him, trying to impeach him, just trying to make his life hell. Like, how could you want, at 76 years old or something, how could you want to do another 4 years of going to war with the media like he's
So
already
you look
done?
at who he is.
Some people thrive on that stuff.
Oh,
Kid,
yeah.
This is what I'm saying.
Maybe.
Think about it right now. He knows everybody's waiting for him to say, I'm running in 2000. He'll go, I got an announcement November 17th, and I'm going to tell everybody what it is. November 17th comes in. He don't tell nobody anything, you know?
Ah, okay.
So he plays with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
he's
if
teasing us.
you think about it, if
It's like
Trump
Tiger
was
Woods.
president and DeSantis was vice president, when the 4 years are up, DeSantis could run again if Trump don't.
I mean, if it works
mess
that
it up
way.
a little bit for
And let's just face it, Trump's the TV guy. He loves that. I mean, you can see all the other presidents after they do their terms, how they got like really old and look like they got beaten and battered.
He didn't
You look
look
at Trump, he just skated through like he was just
He
acting
dyes
like it was
his
nothing.
hair. I don't know, man.
I mean, that's just the way I
think,
see it.
I think that was all the amphetamines that kept him going.
Look, he was. They raided his house. I don't know how he'd want to go back.
That was some suspicious
That's some
situation there, that
BS.
raiding the house, because
Yeah.
you know
I don't
they
know
kicked
if-
everybody out, and they if I remember correctly, they were looking for a specific document which the National Archivist knew where it was because they had been in contact.
Right.
And so, but the warrant was, well, just look anywhere in the house,
It's not
even though they knew where this document
Right.
was.
All right.
So that's kind of like, and then they
I
didn't let
agree.
anybody in. They didn't let the
They
lawyer
wanted to
in.
turn the cameras off.
Yeah, yeah.
and
It's
told-
like,
but didn't
all right,
turn it
you
off.
know,
Yeah.
that
I'm
smells
thinking-
like Louisiana.
Yeah, I'm thinking that was terrible. I thought it was terrible.
Well,
I think it hurt them more than helped them, the left.
Yeah.
Doing
oh
that.
yeah.
Because I know everybody, even some of the Democrats, were going, "Oh gosh, that ain't the way to.
Yeah,
that shouldn't
yeah,
happen."
they were-
He's our
yeah.
president of an ex-president of the United States, and they're going to go raid
Yeah.
his house.
And the scary thing is, if they can do that to a former president of the United States,
Yes,
you know they can do it to you.
throw us under the
yeah.
bus.
Oh, yeah.
Make
Oh
us-
yeah,
yeah.
because
It's
I mean,
terrible.
you just
100.
if they can get away with it with him,
Well, it's,
you guys just
Yeah,
better
you-
just
they almost don't even have
tuck
to
and
do
run.
it. Like, they've proved that the government has tools or equipment that can X-ray a house and see what's inside of the house without ever going inside of
Right.
the house.
Wow.
So I mean, if they wanted to, like, if they thought you were up to something, they could literally just X-ray your house and see what's inside.
Look,
Or
they
if
know-
like they thought you had something on your body, they X-ray your body.
Look, they know exactly what you're doing. You know, right now we
Man's
talked
got a
about
hammer.
we're talking about DeSantis with our phones right here. When we leave, we're gonna get all this marketing about DeSantis.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, it's just the way this works.
The
best
They know
tracker in the world.
They know exactly what we're doing, when we're doing it, how we're doing it, who
Big
we're
Brother's
voting for.
watching.
and that
everything.
tracking stuff
Yep,
post 9/11.
yep.
Oh,
It is.
yeah.
It's crazy. They know
That's
everything
right.
about it. It's scary to a certain extent.
Oh yeah,
Because
everything
we're
tracks
all on
you.
our phones. We're on it. Me and my
But-
wife were talking about
Google, Apple.
swing beds and cushions.
Uh-huh.
And then not 2 seconds later, she picks up her phone and she goes, "Hey, look what popped up!" And she was showing it to me. I'm going, "What in the world, man?"
Yeah, and that's an argument for not carrying your phone around, and I get that, and I'm good with that. But the other day, I couldn't text, I couldn't receive or make telephone calls, and I'm thinking, well, this is not good because I literally make my living with my
Yes.
telephone.
Yes.
Yes.
So if somebody needs me, this is the only way to get me.
It's,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. See, that's crazy because if somebody could come in and shut all the phones off,
Yeah.
we wouldn't
They
have
can.
access.
Oh, yeah, they can. I
It
mean,
would be,
they,
it would just be insane for you. I think about the days when I'm gonna jump back like Carl did, back in the '80s in the 90s where I had to do service calls.
Y'all
We
wrote
didn't
on
have cell
stone
phones.
tablets, right?
Yeah.
We had to use paper maps and coin-operated phones. We had to pull over on the side of the road, find a phone, put a quarter in, call and say, hey, where do you live?
Yeah.
That's what it used to be. Now it's like everything's.
I mean, that's living life, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
That was the real world before we
I
all
just-
were.
It was no fun.
sounds so fun.
I signed my name on every phone
Hunter,
booth I
you
went
don't
in.
ever answer your phone anyway.
So
huh?
I'd go there
I would
and go,
love
I've
not
been to
having
this one.
phones.
It's funny. It's crazy
So-
what we used to have back then.
One thing too, it's Veterans Day, so I figured I'd bring this up. Is maybe a touchy subject, but it's definitely something worth awareness for the people that don't know. One of the biggest things with our troops coming back from deployments, coming back, or just getting out of the Army and trying to assimilate back to civilian life is there's a massive suicide rate amongst our veterans. And there's companies like 9 Lives and Nine Line, I think is what it's called. Harold.
9 Line, yeah.
Nine
Oh, he knows
Line.
Nine
There's
Line.
companies that they're making a really big effort and they're dedicating a large part of their proceeds and stuff to go towards foundations and stuff to help our vets. But I just want to kind of brainstorm with y'all and see if y'all can think like what's causing the high suicide rate, because it didn't used to be like this. But then also maybe what's a possible solution, or what's something that we could do as a country that could help our vets to help them assimilate and not be in a place where they're considering taking their own life.
It's bad homeless. Most of the veterans are homeless.
Giving them job like appliance repair.
Okay? That's a good.
Or
Well, I
idea.
even
locksmithing too.
Give
Yeah,
them
we're
a-
just
there you go.
saying, you think about this drugs, they get into drugs when they get just.
I think that's a big part of it. A lot of guys get injured in the military, and so, especially over the last 10 years, there's something with the opioid crisis. A lot of them were prescribed these heavy doses of opioids and stuff, and then, they're extremely addicting. And what's the next thing you go to once you get off an opioid and can't get it anymore? It's heroin, or fentanyl after that.
And the problem with that is I just recently found out that oxycodone is
Yep.
more addictive than heroin.
It's
Yep.
more
Oh,
addictive
yeah.
than
Yes.
morphine. Yeah.
Morphine. Yeah. So then
It's
and
crazy.
there's a lot of things. I will say that the military has gotten better for taking care and treating their veterans
Yes.
over the years, at least since Vietnam. I
Right.
can't speak for before that, but I can in a way, because these guys in the last World War, they saw some shit
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
that no mere mortal should ever have to see.
Right.
When they
Right.
opened those concentration camps,
Oh,
really, and then
could
they
you
just came home and picked up and went back to work.
Right.
Right.
You know, some of them, yeah, but some of them probably not. A good movie to watch about adjusting to coming back from war is Best Years of Our Lives. It came out in 1947. Excellent movie.
It's a good one.
But the problem is that when they came back from Vietnam, I had a inspector who was a friend of mine. He went to Vietnam. He was about 2-3 years older than me, and he had come back from Vietnam, and he was in his uniform because that's the way you were required to travel, is in your Class A's. And he was in Seattle Airport, and apparently at the time there was a walkway above something else, and somebody spat on him.
Oh,
And
Oh my
so,
gosh.
yeah,
after he came back from Vietnam.
after he came back from Vietnam.
There
You
was
know,
that was one of the most political wars in the history of our country.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. My father-in-law went, I think, twice. They
Wow.
wanted him to go a third time, and he said, "Nah, it's okay."
Willard
Yeah.
Stevenson went.
And then
Yeah.
he told me that most of his unit didn't come home.
Right. It's
So-
just the spitting part. I
Yeah.
don't know how I would react
Well, that's
if I saw a military person, somebody spit on
oh,
them.
I
don't believe
would
I
be
would go to jail.
enraged. Yes,
Yeah.
I, wouldn't
I mean-
stand for that.
But
No.
it was tough time. It was better when I came, but I also
Right.
came home in Germany. So by the time I got home to the States, everybody forgot about it.
Yeah.
You definitely make a good
So-
point too, though, about like was it your stepfather?
His father-in-law.
Father-in-law. Just that he lost half of his squad or most of his squad over there. So you have all these guys that you've gone through basic with, and you've gone through all this training, and you've basically lived with and formed a family and brotherhood with, and then you lose these people that mean so much to you, and then
Yeah.
you have to just come home and act like everything's okay.
And
you
one
don't
thing
miss
that
them every
one thing
day.
that I kind of kick around in my head and is that all right? They teach you how to shoot people
Yes.
so that they won't shoot back at you, but they don't teach you how to deal with it when the guy next to
after
you got shot.
Oh, yeah. I think about
That's a
that.
good
Right.
point.
So, hey, buddy, how about a sick? Oh,
Yes.
Oh,
that's-
shoot.
Seeing
Yeah.
things like
So-
that's just terrible.
So, and it's hard to deal with, and obviously everybody's different. Everybody deals with it differently. We adjust differently
Right.
and such. But you'd be lying to yourself if it didn't affect you in some
Correct.
at some
Oh,
level.
100%.
It's just unfortunately some people deal with it and take it harder than others. And but the more you get to it, the more you're exposed to it. I think the harder it is. I don't think that you ever. I don't know if it ever goes away. I mean, people say you get used. I don't know if you get used to it unless
Right.
you're a
Yeah.
sociopath.
Yeah.
Because you got it's just not soldiers dying. You're talking about women, children,
Right.
Civilians.
We don't fight wars like we used to.
No, and it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
you just see this. It's,
Yeah.
it's not your comrade or the
Right.
enemy. Everything around it's dying, and you have to see that. It's
Yeah.
just, that would be
So
tough.
you go over to Iraq and it's like you have things on the side of the road. Well, is it just a thing on the side of the road, or is it a bomb?
Yeah,
And then
Oh,
you
yeah.
come back, and then anything you see on the road, is that a stick? Is that a piece of paper,
Yes,
or
I
is it a bomb?
know.
These are hard things to adjust to, and sometimes you go along for a long time, or you're cool, and then it's like one day it's just your brain's, you're not having a good day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that these organizations, Nine Line, and there's other things, I think they're good. I haven't done much study into them, but I think that anybody who's out there to help the soldier get himself at least flying in some kind of trim is a good thing.
Yeah, all the money we spend. Why can't we spend money helping these people?
All the money we send to Ukraine.
I just
Because
donated the other day.
there's no money in a cure.
That's right.
Correct.
There's
Right.
only money in treating, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Is Folds of Honor one of them? Have you heard of that one?
I've heard of it. I don't know anything about it.
Folds of Honor.
That
Okay.
could
I
be.
play in the golf tournament. That's what it was. Folds of Honor.
Well, I know something he said there too, that we don't fight wars like we used to. There's not honor in war anymore. And I mean, I know I heard Dakota Meyer on a podcast. I believe it was Dakota Meyer that was telling a story, and in the story he described them in a small Iraqi village, and there's actual gunfights going on, and a woman holding what appears to be a baby in her arms is running down the street like, "Oh, help me," or something. And then I think a soldier ran out to try and pull her into cover, and in her arms was a bomb. It wasn't a baby, and boom, like
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
took herself out just to take him out. That's a woman too,
Oh, yeah.
So you can't look at them as women and children if they're so committed to the cause as the men are that they're willing to run out with a bomb just to take a few of you with them.
And you see, that kind of started in a way in Vietnam, is you never knew who your enemy was.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, they'll wave the American flag today, and then they'll wave the North Vietnamese flag tomorrow. Depends on who's in the village.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all a matter of survival. But I get that. But at the end of the day, whose side are they going to fall down
Still
on?
tough. Right.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But
Wow.
You think Forrest Gump was what made you?
Where we go?
I was gonna say.
I got $1 million wound. They must have kept the money because I didn't see a penny of it.
That's where it got political. They were like exposing it, right?
Well, that was. I mean, Forrest Gump came years after Vietnam.
Yeah.
I know, but I mean, I
No,
don't
it
know.
was political during the time
yeah.
because there's a lot of people that disagree that we shouldn't even be going to Vietnam to fight the war. That's someone else's problem.
Well, I don't disagree, but that was our United Nations obligation,
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
unfortunately.
We're in a treaty that obligates us.
Right.
That's NATO. Is that we're talking about?
That was the UN.
UN. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. Or it could have been Southeast Asia Treaty Organization. We belong to so many of these trees,
Oh, I
and
agree.
they go in and
Now, is it when
Yeah,
Trump,
where
when-
they benefit from us, but we don't really benefit from them. Anymore.
yeah.
Right, but didn't Trump go in and sort of
He
took
did.
us
I
away
think
from
yeah.
some and
I think
put
yeah. I
us
think
in-
he,
put us in
yeah.
the spot?
Whether we went back to it or not, I don't
Well,
know.
we
But
probably
he
have.
tried to kind of.
Probably.
He tried to kind of rein things in a little bit.
Try to give us some of that. What do you think about the Russia?
Russia.
You think it's going to get worse for us?
Russia Ukraine
yeah.
confrontation.
Or you
But
think
Putin is not going to lose.
he's
Yeah.
going to
If he's going to lose, he's not going down alone.
correct?
Oh, like
He's
you believe
gonna-
the whole.
He's ex KGB.
He's got
Oh,
way
yeah.
too much pride to lose.
Yeah.
Like, do you believe that? Do you believe the conspiracy theory that he's dying though? Well, I know. In technical terms, yeah, he's human.
People
he
said
is
that
dying, but they think
has
he has.
cancer or something.
Well,
Yeah.
theoretically, I haven't read that, but theoretically he could be because that's kind of the way they do things over
yeah.
there.
Oh yeah, because it's usually poisons or
yeah,
something like.
yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about
There
that.
are a lot of those people before Putin and after the Tsar kind of woke up one morning and they weren't anymore.
Wow.
They woke
Right.
up dead. So it's
So I just wonder what he's doing. I don't
paranoia is a
It's a scary.
Well, what
thing.
scares
It is.
us is, as America, and I'm not saying this because I'm Republican or anything, but we seem weak. Like, in general, with our president that can't speak well, that really doesn't need to be our president. It's just my opinion. I'm not,
Yeah.
not showing who I voted, who I'd vote for.
Who
But
cares?
Russia has they're not scared of anything right now. I just don't know how far they'll go. Will they come into Poland? Will they come
I don't
into
think
the
necessarily
NATO
a fear
side?
thing. I think power is a sense of
Into the-
respect. Like they like to see someone more powerful that gives more. I think more like respect kind of thing. I don't think it's. I know like with our president now, it definitely seems like
well.
he's.
The president is weak.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
He is weak, and he was a never very kind of like me, a good speaker
Right. Oh, you're a good
during his senatorial
Right.
lifespan, nor did he do anything as a senator. So
Right. He
I
did
mean, he's
nothing,
basically and now I'm not necessarily defending him, but just go down this road with me. Okay.
All right.
He has some mental issues. I think he has. I think as somebody, not as a doctor or anything, but as someone who's been around people who have dementia and people who I know who have dementia,
Sure.
whose family members have dementia. I think he's got some cognitive problems,
Sure.
Yes.
I agree with you there.
and that's where I feel sorry for him because I think he's a victim of elder abuse.
I agree with
I
you.
agree.
Oh yeah.
I
I
really
agree.
and so as a politician, I don't like him for a second, but as a human being, I kind of feel
agree.
sorry for him.
It used to be when he first was making those mistakes, it was going, oh, he's so stupid. Now when they show these clips, you're going, oh my gosh, man, don't show him. No, something's wrong.
He literally reads everything on the teleprompter. He reads quote,
yeah.
and then he tells you he read
I
it.
know. It's just I don't understand.
And
He's just
and,
an
and,
actor.
and some of the things that he does when he walks away and he's lost. I try to look in his eyes because the saying is exactly. The eyes are the window to the soul, and I don't know, in real life you can tell, but I don't know if it really works over video and
Yep,
stuff.
right.
But I don't see anything behind the eyes, and
Nothing,
I feel
correct.
bad for him as a human being
Why don't they
Yeah.
why
I
don't they
feel
just let the
that a
vice
lot.
president run the show?
because she's worse.
I know, but at least
Yeah.
she's somewhat. Drives me crazy. I hate that. She does that, man. When she laughs, I just wish it's. But look, if she goes out, who's next? Pelosi.
Nancy.
We're screwed.
Mommy
else.
Milkers
We're-
Nancy.
We're screwed.
I
from
read
the
a
top to
thing
the
a few
bottom.
a few weeks ago that the Democrats, if the Republicans take over the House, the article said if the Republicans take over the House, obviously Nancy's no longer
Right.
Speaker. But if the Democrats maintain the House, she still may not be Speaker because I think a lot of the Democrats
get
are
rid of
getting
her.
the more
Right.
what Dave Rubin calls classical liberal.
Right.
Because Dave
Yeah.
Rubin's a classical liberal. And I'm good with the classical liberals. I'm good with those. I mean, we grew up
Yes,
with them.
sure.
Hubert Humphrey,
Right.
Joseph
Yes.
McCarthy. Those were good men. I mean, they
You
had
mean somebody
for the
that
most
might
part.
work with.
These people are too far to the left.
Correct.
Yeah,
so,
it's terrible.
So some of the more liberal, more right-leaning liberals, if you will,
Right.
are kind of getting tired of her.
How does she get voted in? Can she not be part of anything and they vote her in? Or does she have to be a senator or something?
No, she has to be a sitting. She has to be a sitting representative.
Okay.
And then I think there's a whole lot of lobbying going on
Right. Let's see who's
as to see, and then I don't know whether it's the Democratic caucus or the whole
Right.
Democratic people or
Right.
how that is elected.
I was
'Cause
just
they,
curious.
they
Who is
keep
the
that,
first
they keep
Democrat?
that crap hush,
I
hush.
want. I want to say that, Hunter. I don't understand that
That's a
question, but
history
I'm gonna ask
lesson,
you.
man. I don't know
ask
on
you-
that.
I overheard
They
that
Washington.
Trump could be Speaker of the House if the Republicans won. Could they?
No,
He can't because he's not in the.
he's not. He's not a member of the House of Representatives.
Okay,
you have to
that's
be a
the
member
question
of the
I
House of
have. I heard
Representatives.
somebody say, "Yeah, they're going to make him
That would be hilarious.
Speaker of the House."
Clearly, somebody doesn't know their constitution.
So I wanted to make sure in my
Yeah.
mind that couldn't happen because in my mind I'm thinking if that happened,
You
oh
can't.
my
You
gosh.
can't even be a senator to be Speaker of the House. You have. I mean, and the nuances, the particulars on how you become, I'm not really up on. But you have to be an active. You have to have been a voted member of the House of Representatives.
Not president.
Not president.
Okay.
Not senator.
That's
not,
my question.
Not Joe Bush's shoe shine boy.
Right. So
know.
when they said that to me, I thought, oh my gosh,
Ain't
that
gonna
would
happen.
be crazy if that
Yeah.
happened.
I think the Democratic Party is struggling right now because, as you mentioned, there's the people that are classic liberals that have been a proud liberal their whole life, and then over the last like 10 to 15 years, these, to use the same word, extremist liberals are coming out, and they're all LGBTQ'd and transed out and trans in the military, and they're throwing all these and having, oh, my child can use a litter box because she identifies as a furry, or let's give a 6-year-old a sex change because my daughter thinks she's a boy or something. Like, they've gotten
I've seen stuff
so
on that.
far out there that
Yeah.
other people are like, I don't see how I can still
Yeah.
identify with this party
But
if
this
this
is what's
what they're
crazy.
believing in now.
We can't vote them out. It's like
We're voting against a rigged system.
that's what I'm saying. No
gotta
matter how
be.
much these people think it, like Cortez got voted back in. How the crap did she get voted back in?
What's a Cortez?
AOC.
AOC.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
How did
dude.
she get voted back in?
She's hot.
Oh, that might matter.
That was it. No, I'm just kidding.
It wouldn't shock me much
I just
if that
don't
was the case.
understand. Like we're going through Georgia. You got Herschel Walker and that other man. I don't know. His
Woman? It was a man?
name. No, it's a man.
Okay.
In Georgia, Herschel Walker.
Herschel Walker, Republican or Democrat?
He's Republican.
Okay.
And then there was that other man who is. He's running against him. He is far left. You know, everything Biden voted for, he voted for. And they were expecting.
Oh, Charlie Crist Jr.
No, yes.
Pretty much.
I'll tell you a funny story too. We were voting, and I had pulled my phone out because I wanted to look at all the judges. I didn't know the judges, so I'm going through the phone looking to see who appointed them. Well, I didn't know you wasn't allowed to have your phone while you're voting.
yeah,
Did
right.
you know that?
I did.
Well, this is even funnier. My wife is sitting at a table. She calls me over there because I finished, and she goes, "I don't know who to vote for on this." I said, "Well, here, just take my." You know how much trouble I got in.
Did you know not to do that too?
I don't. I didn't know judges were being. And this is really only my first election living in
Right.
Florida because I was overseas for a while.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I'm not up on the
I wasn't up on the judges.
who's voting when. I know that every 2 years half the House or
Right.
every 2 years it's a third of the Senate. Every 2 years it's half the House.
Yeah.
And every
Right.
4 years it's.
Well, this was
But
Florida
I don't.
judges.
You know,
I didn't know.
Yeah,
who
I
they
didn't
were.
know. I don't. So I don't know that. I'm not up on.
Right, I
on the
wasn't
Florida
in-
political
Boy,
system
I
at
went
this time,
Right through
so-
my phone, I got to do every one of them.
So.
Well, I can tell you what
Because I'm
wasn't on
big.
the voting list.
I know weed. Go ahead. and say-
Recreational cannabis use. The one thing that I'm still pissed off
You can't
about.
do that.
Do you think it's going to happen?
It's going to happen.
It's gonna happen.
Either-
Biden's already
look,
said he's
once
gonna
it's federally legal, I think it gets ushered in our state.
So why is marijuana classified as a narcotic like heroin?
Oh, you want to go there?
Oxy.
Okay, so why they've got it classified like that?
Grant's got a full list on this one.
Well, I think it gets pretty deep. Personally, I think there's a lot of intentions behind it. But part of why I think it is that they get a lot of tax money for it. They get to confiscate whenever you arrest somebody. You get to confiscate all their belongings. So you get to basically arrest these kingpin drug dealers that have millions of dollars in property and estates and all this stuff, and they get to seize all of it and then resell it in auctions and stuff. And then I also think a big part of it too is, and this may not be marijuana, so I don't know if this
Wait,
classifies.
so the kingpins do more than marijuana, though, right?
Yeah, they do. And what I was going to mention too isn't just marijuana, but even like the craft The crack epidemic. Holly, let me spit it out. The crack epidemic.
I
I
the
think
cocaine
Oh,
cowboys.
wear a better belt.
I think I think that a lot of that too is just locking up, fathers and sons and people that put food on the table for their family and basically cause the rest. And a lot of this applies to the African American population more so than white people necessarily. Which, if you look at the numbers, there's more black people that are locked up than white people. And I think a lot of it is so that the kids don't have a dad to raise them. The families that no longer have that
We
male
basing this on
figure.
marijuana only, though. You mentioned crack too, but
I know.
I'm just saying.
I know, but I think all drugs. I mean, I almost think they should legalize all of them.
Oh Jesus!
I don't.
That's what you're getting at after all that?
I wasn't even done, but I mean, I think that they make it where the black population has to rely on the government, and so they get their voters when it's voting time because they imprison the fathers and they make it where it's extremely difficult for them to be able to make it without stamps or government government
Johnson did
assistance
that
or
with his
something. Lyndon B. Johnson with
his whatever act of he said yeah. I don't know if he really said this, but he said we're going to put forth legislation to make these black people vote for us for 100 years.
Yes.
And that's really more what destroyed the black, whereas we're supposed to say African American family than anything else because if you want,
So it's a law that he passed. Is what you're saying.
it's a legislation that he pushed forth, basically the welfare that we see today.
Right.
Yes.
That if you want the government to help you, kick your husband out.
Wow.
If you want more money, drop another baby.
Wow.
So now you got a woman with 6-8 kids, and she's making serious bank.
And these kids don't have a dad, by
And
the
they
way,
don't have a
because
dad.
he's either been involved in some kind of drug-related shooting because he can't make money in other ways, so he has to resort to that, or he's been locked up for having drugs in some way, and they locked him up for 30 years
Yeah.
for a dime bag of pot. And now you got 8 kids growing up without a dad.
But
right?
even without the drugs, it's like, okay, the government has pushed the father out of the picture, so that you can have the money. So what's his incentive to come home?
None.
There is none. Now, please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying to bring back segregation, not in the Middle East, but before this Civil Rights Act thing that Johnson put in, the black economy was a very robust economy,
I didn't know that.
and it doesn't
Wow.
exist anymore.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, and I
So
think we're moving in the right direction. Like, I do see a lot of companies that are trying to make a push, like where you can search whenever you're looking for a restaurant or something, you can search for black-owned businesses. And I think sort of they're trying to help the black population to be able to invest back in themselves and be more entrepreneurial and stuff. But I just don't know if that's the answer necessarily. I think they need to look deeper into some of the things we were talking about, and some of it goes back to the way they classify their drugs so that they can imprison them for a long time and all the other stuff we talked about.
well, it all boils down to government. Let me tell you. Where are the black people most poor?
Usually in cities.
In inner city. And
Yeah.
who is running the inner cities?
The Democrats are.
Yes.
Well,
I was gonna say government officials.
Yeah, well, yeah, but
I'm sorry.
No,
I just say
but
different.
They
okay.
are.
So Harlem, up in
Yes.
New York. You think the city legislator, the city councilman is black or white?
They're probably black.
Probably black.
Yeah.
The U.S. representative that represents Harlem, do you think he's black or white?
Probably black. Am I wrong?
You're absolutely right.
Oh, okay. I didn't even think that.
So the question is, are blacks taking care of themselves?
Oh, that is a good question.
Had an acquaintance when I was at
This is Democrats.
when I was in Louisiana. Knew this. He was just an acquaintance. So we met. We were in the same outfit. We didn't work together.
Yes.
He let his driver's license lapse because he didn't need one, and he just didn't see the need to continually. But he was getting out of the Army, and he needed a driver's license, so he needed to borrow a vehicle. So I let him borrow mine because it was an automatic transmission, a lot easier to drive in that. And incidentally, he was a black man because it's important to the story.
Okay.
Yes.
And I said, yeah, you can borrow the car. And so went out, took him out there, drove the car, took his test, passed the test, brought the car back. I said, put $5 worth of gas in it, which in those days,
That's
Oh,
a full,
yes.
that's a full tank.
I wish it was
that
like
was that was pretty good gas.
Yeah.
He said he said that the reason why he came to me and not a black guy is because the black guy would give you the car at a quarter tank and expect you to fill it up, even though you only drive 5 miles.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
there's some truth to
And
that.
I said I don't remember how much gas was in it, but I said $5 is more than enough.
Yes.
That's what he.
Wow.
That's what he. I said that's
That's
fine.
great,
So,
Oh yeah.
so I mean, there's a
He get his driver's license?
He did. He did. I never saw him again, which is fine. I mean,
Yeah.
because he went his way, I went mine.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But he was nice guy. But
cool.
these are things that you learn when
correct.
you're schlepping down the road.
It's
Is,
crazy. Because, again, I'm going to say Democrats, even if they're a black Democrat that's running, they still don't look after. They still try to make it difficult for the black population.
Candace Owens was called an Uncle Tom.
She was great. I
Yes.
loved her.
I like Candace.
Oh
I like
yeah.
Candace.
How about that guy from Philadelphia?
Fetterbomb or
Fetterman?
That guy,
Fat-
that guy's something
How
else.
how did he win?
There's a dead guy that
has to
won.
be
I'm
rigged.
not surprised at all.
I don't remember what news channel it was. It was a mainstream. I think it was CNN, or The Voice, or some kind of, She was already posing him as a candidate for 24 for president.
Oh.
Fetterman.
No.
No way, man.
So
Said,
literally, they are trying to find people who have little to no brain left, that they can literally spoon feed them every
Yeah.
agenda that they want to push out, and just have a
100%.
face figure for
Pretty
it
much.
that they can manipulate or use them to do anything they want to do.
DeSantis is going to win in 24, guys. There's no way he can't.
He's huge.
Trump's
He has
going
a
to be
good
Florida's
chance.
governor.
How funny would that be?
He lives here.
I'll take it.
Is he
take it.
allowed? So is he allowed to run for that?
Yeah.
Why not?
He could run for governor.
As far as I know.
he would
Oh
win
my
hands down.
gosh.
Governor's not big enough, man. He's done been.
He
the
lives
president.
here.
That's
He'd
like,
be like-
and that's the thing. Once you're president, why do anything else?
Yeah, exactly.
it's like coaching in the NFL and going back to high school. And
Well, Nick Saban
Yeah.
kind of did that a little bit.
he went back to the best and most legendary college football program ever. So
Wow.
he didn't go to FSU, son. He
That's
he went
coming
to
from an Alabama fan.
Yeah.
But let's just
Yeah.
Oh,
He didn't
let's
go.
just say he was in the NFL and he didn't like it.
Let's just say he did very not well in the NFL.
Right.
Look, he may not wind up like in college because this new NIL rule where all the players are getting paid now, it's about like the NFL. These guys are already making millions of dollars. Why even have to show up for practice or play in the big game or anything? Like
Yeah.
Bryce Young made over $1 million in endorsements, and he hadn't even played a football game yet.
no
Wow.
way.
In the beginning, I mean, now he has, but
Oh,
dude, Arch Manning isn't even in college
Well,
yet and
Nick
has
Saban's
over
a part
$5
of that.
million
May,
in
may, I,
ad money.
may I endorse a product? Maybe I won't have to work on Lux. I'll just
There you
endorse a product.
There you
Hey,
go,
that's,
man.
that's what it's about now. If you can figure out something to endorse or something to sell and people
Wow.
love it, you may not have to work a day in your life.
Pico,
Yeah.
I think you could do commercials.
Maybe.
You've got the mustache for it.
Have you ever thought about doing like, what's that company called that does like the beard products? I can't think of it now.
Oh, there's some good ones.
there's-
Manscaped?
There's Manscaped. Well, Manscaped's shaving the beard.
Oh, Manscaped's pube shaving.
Oh my god!
Oh, shoot.
I could be in that commercial.
Y'all killing me. Man.
Oh, I'm trying to think what is it? It's like beard gel or something like that.
I don't remember. They do have.
There's a
good-
bunch of good like beard oils companies.
Well,
And
I get my product. Here's my shameless.
Oh,
I get my beard and mustache products from Grave Before Shave.
Grave
that a
before
shave?
shave.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've
Oh.
seen that.
So guys, that's what we need is grave before shave.
Yes, we all got beards. We need
What is,
that.
what
I
is
think I think my mustache would actually grow long enough.
I have a curly mustache.
And I
If I
think
wanted to, mine will
just-
curl too. It ain't
yeah.
that long right now, but I've done it. I've done mine before. It
Look at
wants
these
to
guys.
curl.
Y'all can't beat
Time to
Pico.
invest in
His-
We can
product.
never. Pico's
He's already
is-
doing commercials.
Yeah, Pico's is. Oh, that's your calling, man.
Is
you
it?
can come out with your own line of products,
I'm
Yes.
not that
and
smart.
you model it. And dude, you'll sell a lot. You put that hat on with
I
that
can see it.
mustache.
Be the East Coast distributor of Grave Before Shave. I'll start with that. and
There you
branch
go.
out from there.
There you go.
You can
Yes.
you can open a shop down here in the school.
Yeah.
Grave Before Shave, Holmes County edition. And,
Who cuts
So-
your hair? The girls upstairs?
No, my sister-in-law does.
Sister-in-law
Yeah.
does.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
I want to find a good barber though, because it's hard to find one out here that does all the beard stuff.
What about Mims? I've never been in Mims.
Mims?
Oh, I haven't either. My father-in-law, I called him and asked him if he did razor shaves, to get the lines straight and try
Yeah.
to make it look nice. He said he didn't.
I
do
know where it
razor
does
shaves.
that.
Where?
Where?
The Chop Dothan does it.
Where's
They-
that?
You know where TJ Maxx is in like the Army Recruiting
Yeah,
Center
yeah.
or whatever?
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
like right next door to the Army Recruiting Center.
Really?
Dude, they'll do whole head razor shaves. Like
Really?
for the bald guys, Brandon, don't get any ideas.
Hey,
they'll-
I'll shave my head off for some charity.
For
some charity.
I'm afraid if I
Who's charity? She must
My charity. Give me money. I'm the
I'm
charity.
afraid if I shave it, there won't be anything growing back.
Won't grow back. That's my problem. Jesus. Wow. I sort of like the massages and the good-looking girls.
sports clips.
Sport
Yeah.
clips.
Look, they're pretty cool.
I
at
like
the
how my
Chop.
hair feels after I leave sports clips.
Do they still exist, or did the woke crowd get rid of them?
No, they're still.
Are they?
They're still
They
around.
got one in
Oh,
Dothan.
sports clips is pretty decent.
Look,
They
They-
do. Look,
They wear lower cut
I
shirts
only
than
go
ever.
with the beard. If I go in and say y'all do beards and they go no, I'll go.
Look, you
Yeah,
got a
walk
couple
out.
crazy ones in there though, and they will not
Oh,
shut up.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
they talk
They're
They
a lot.
just
there's-
talk.
I still remember
man.
the one woman talked about when she killed her husband.
Look, if she sees this podcast, she's probably gonna be mad at
She
me.
didn't kill her husband. She said she had
She'll
a
know which
tattoo.
one she is.
She had a tattoo on her back with a gun
Oh,
next to a head.
Oh my God.
And we go, hey, that tattoo. She goes, yeah, I got that after my husband tried to kill me and shoot me in my head.
Oh my gosh. That was a
Never-
defining moment in her life, man.
Yeah.
had to have it tattooed. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh shoot.
Well, shoot, guys, with it being Veterans Day, what else haven't we touched on? I mean, I want to
But
say,
I want to talk about like
Hey,
Carl, when
I-
you finally left. What made you want to go to the whole locksmithing after
on.
you left? Were you doing locksmithing after you did while you were in the military, or was that a year after?
That was after a few years after.
Oh,
So I retired from the Army, and took a couple jobs here and there, and then I got into working aviation. I was an electrician on Blackhawks, and the unit I supported went away, and so they moved me to another hangar, and what the job of that hangar was to kind of get the helicopters that came back from the second Gulf War all cleaned up and prettied up and everything taken care of, so they can go back out there and do it again. And all I was doing was taking wiring harnesses apart and cleaning them, and it's like, this is detail work. This is boring for me.
oh yeah.
So I took a job over in Iraq, made some money, paid down some bills, came back and got a job at a community college in Killeen as a maintenance dude. And so I'd been working there for several months, and then locksmith said, "Hey, you wanna be a locksmith with me?" Sure, why not? And I did it.
and that's in Texas?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so eventually he got promoted, and I became the locksmith, and then I've been kind of in and out of it for years and years. So a lot of institutional locksmith, but residential is new-ish to me. But but I can B&E. I was at a B&E right before I came here.
Can you build one? Can you build a lock?
Not from scratch, no.
No.
Because I
Okay.
don't
I
have.
was
The,
just
I don't. Have,
curious.
it's a lot involved in that.
You honestly could probably lie and say yeah, and people would believe you.
They probably would.
They probably
Just
like,
gotta
yeah,
learn to
that
say
guy
it.
he could do
yeah,
it.
but somebody listening will come in. I want you to build me a lock.
I'll be the one guy in the comments section.
Yeah.
You should have been like, yeah, I can build a master grade lock that no one could crack. the
Yeah,
code
bro,
on.
like a safe.
30 years of experience.
Hey, there's a really good movie out on Netflix called The Vault, and it's kind of like that. It's
What's
really
it-
neat.
Is it just another bank robbery movie?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's good.
I've only
gosh.
seen 46
This
of
guy,
those.
this guy knows how to use that lock.
He knows how to use his fingers. Yeah, boy.
Now, is it?
Have a good one.
But let me ask you, Carl, on some of those like bank robbery movies where you see them with their ear against the lock, is that a true thing, or is it more or less like you have to do a combination thing
My understanding is that on the older locks with the tumblers and everything, you can. I worked with a locksmith in Djibouti who did that. Djibouti. So, but the older locks. But the locks I worked on for the government when I was over there were all electronic. So it's like if you don't know the number, it ain't gonna happen because nothing. I mean, you're turning a dial and you see numbers show up, and the number corresponds to something on there, and so you get the right numbers. Then it allows the circuitry to go on to allow you to turn the knob, turn the dial, and pull it back. So there's really, per se, there's no moving parts in some of these in these electronic locks. So I don't know. I don't know if you could.
You don't do cars, do you?
I don't like to do cars, but I've gotten into them. I've done some GTA.
Right.
Oh, I like that.
That's funny.
Wow.
Now,
That's
out
good.
of all the locks that you worked on there, Carl, or what's one that you'll just look at that saying, no, not even a million years, I won't even touch this style.
Famous question.
None of them.
No, as cheap as a quickset they are, they've got a new quickset smart lock, and where you put a thing in and you turn it, you can rekey it to anything. It's like they're very difficult, and my skill set is no longer as good as it used to be, and so I'm not going to mess with them. But fortunately, this job I was at, she had another one I got in. I won't tell you how.
Don't tell us your secrets.
Needless to say.
So do you get like obsessed with it sometimes? Like, oh, I gotta figure out how I can
I do.
unlock this.
Eventually it gets personal.
Yeah.
Eventually, you bust out the crowbar and hammer.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I've had to do that.
Oh yeah.
Actually, if you can, well, I'm not going to tell you how.
Carl's gonna find a treasure chest one day, and he's never gonna be able to open this treasure chest.
No, he'll resort to some dynamite.
They're depending on how much time you want to invest and what tools you have, you can get it. I think you can get in any lock.
Yeah.
So, or how much damage you want to do.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Cool.
was it Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid? They were doing a train robbery, and they put some dynamite on it, and they just blew everything all over the place.
And all the money.
All the money was going all over.
Yeah,
the place.
it's burned up now.
Yeah, a little bit too much.
A little too much on
So,
that.
That was a
Car
bust.
goes, well, ma'am, you're going to have to buy a new door. I'm sorry.
I won't go to that extreme.
Crowbar
A new window.
If you ever do go to that stream, let me know. I want to watch.
She was actually thinking about breaking the window in, but the cat was right underneath the window, and
She didn't want to
get
hurt the cat.
shards on the cat.
Yeah.
But I'm
Could break the other window.
Well, that was
So
it.
you seriously have to put your little thing in there and like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, you gotta.
That's how you do cars too.
No.
No, I go inside the car.
Yeah.
I go in the door and try to push on the button or pull the lever
Yeah.
But when he's doing it,
I do it for fun.
he's got the little L-shaped thing, and
Yeah,
he's,
that's
you know
your
how they
tensioner.
watch it.
Yeah.
And you just
Yeah.
click, 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 click. Wow.
I used to lock my keys in my truck just so I could see if I could get my keys out of my truck.
Yeah, you do it on purpose.
I used to do it on
There you go.
purpose.
Look, that's what he uses.
Yeah. So you use.
Is that why you lose your wallet all the time?
You use.
I'd actually probably be a good locksmith.
See, that's it.
You use this.
You mean you charge me $150 for that little toolkit?
$150 for that?
It's about the
Charge you
years,
150
not the
bucks
time.
100 to get in. So you put the tension, you put that in the lock, and you turn it. You put some tension on it. Because if you think about it, just putting your key in the lock doesn't unlock the door. Right. You got to turn. So this does the turning part. And this lines up, well, one of them lines up the pins up there. Takes the place of the up and down on you.
Pushes them with their straight.
Pushes them up, and then you turn it. And
Okay.
Wow.
That's all you get. Anything after that is $100 a minute.
We should have brought a lock. We should have brought a lock. And
That would have been a fun challenge thing.
No.
We'd have been here all night. Boy.
I'd probably not pick it and embarrass myself.
I think Carl might move to something more harder than water.
$100 a minute. Oh, Lord.
Oh, shoot.
What was you about to say earlier, Big Mike?
I was gonna ask you when you moved to Bonifay and like you started locksmithing right when you moved here.
And what brought you here?
I
Yeah.
did. what brought me here was my Jeep. No, my mother-in-law is getting old. She lives here. Her husband grew up here,
Right.
up in Bethlehem, and so she's now down here, and so she's starting to show signs of wear.
Right.
And so my wife wanted to come down and be near her.
Sure.
So, but the thing was, we were up in Maryland, and we were both looking for jobs. And the agreement was the first person to get a job, that's where we move. I got the job first, but they was in Pace.
It was in Pace?
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh,
So we
that's
lived.
a drive.
So yeah. Well, we didn't commute here. I worked for a locksmith company there.
Yeah.
But it was 20, so we all know what happened in 20.
The worst virus to ever plague the world.
Ever.
Good thing we've got 3 vaccinations and 4 jabs to take care of all that.
Not me.
Yeah.
Not me.
Well,
Carl-
He's vexed.
I'm well. If I may defend myself,
yes.
the science,
Yes.
the science was irrefutable. I could not argue with the science.
And I understand.
Get the
that.
damn vax or you lose your job.
Yes.
That's it.
So I said,
That
"Oh
was.
man, I thought that was extortion. It's science."
Yeah. That's terrible, isn't it?
So-
Sad how many people
But-
had to do it.
So-
even though I do have the vax, I am also still anti-vax. So anyway, back.
I thought Carl was his own boss, so he told himself he had to get the vaccination. Am I confused?
Well, I was working. I was in
was in
Djibouti
Pace.
then. I was overseas.
He was in Djibouti.
I was in Djibouti. So all of us, all the locksmiths, none of us wanted to get it, but all of us wanted to continue working. Gosh, so we all got them.
Y'all don't know that y'all all could have got together and went.
Terrible. That's how.
No,
it
we couldn't
was.
have because they're local nationals and they really
Oh, they'd have fired
It's
you.
corporate.
They would have fired them and they would have
Wow.
sent me home.
It's crazy they force you to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my stepmom, my dad, so many people that
Has that
wouldn't
ever
have
happened
wanted-
before in the past?
Not in my lifetime. No.
Like the flu shot or something like
No.
that? maybe?
Dude,
Um,
Tuskegee experiment.
They tried to bring up. We're not telling how I got here.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I keep.
They tried to bring
That's
up. Well, you know, the polio, polio vaccine got rid of polio and this and that. Yes, polio vaccine did get rid of polio, but they didn't trot out the polio vaccine to the general public until it had been tested for many years and knew it was
100%.
viable. Not 3 months after they invented it.
yes,
There's a
God.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're only getting part of the story. Anyway, back to your question, Big Mike.
Sure.
So we lived out in Pace, and then the business scaled down a lot, and I agreed to be the first one fired because my wife was working, and we could afford to have me not work.
Right.
But my fellow locksmiths, they were the breadwinners, so I did that, and I just never went back. And then we moved here in January of 21, and we stayed with my mother-in-law for a while till she found a house in February of this year.
Yes.
And in the meantime, I took a contract job overseas in Africa.
Oh, wow.
And but I did open my business. That's where Djibouti is. But I did open my business when we first got here in January. We were down on Waukesha, where Sweetman's is now.
Yeah.
And there's a shack back there that I wouldn't put a horse in, but that's where my shop was. But I didn't have any business, which is why I took the job. And,
Right.
But I did the year over there, and it's like I left for the reason everybody leaves a job is management. Because I really do miss the locksmiths. I really do miss the guys. And then I opened my shop here.
So that contract was a locksmithing contract?
It was a locksmithing contract.
Okay.
Yeah, as a government service locksmith.
Okay.
I did other locks, but my main function, because there were 6 other locksmiths, my main function was the government locks.
Cool.
Replace them because
That's pretty neat.
because according to executive order, I'm the only one allowed to do it because
They
I'm an
sent
American
you
citizen.
all the way to. You said Africa.
That's deep.
Yeah, there's a military base, and it has to be an American citizen to work on the government high security locks.
That's awesome.
Well, that makes sense. You don't want
You have to
someone
work on
in Djibouti
digital
to-
locks?
What's that?
locks.
You have to work on like digital locks?
Yeah, their safe locks are kind of digital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think with the whole like since everything is moving to voice activation, you gotta have a bio card, all this kind of stuff. Is this something that's making your job more difficult? You think?
In a way, because people are going to want to go to it, and I'm not really up to speed on all because there's so many different varieties, and but the downside to that is also very easily hackable.
That is true.
Your locks aren't going to go away, though.
I don't think so. No,
I think they're gonna be
because
here a while.
I mean, why put a $300 lock on a $200 on a $100 door, $50 door?
100%.
So I mean, it's like you've got a $50 door.
So,
You don't have
Carl,
anything in there.
when your wife had the business, I saw the sew there, but I didn't. Did you not advertise there?
I didn't have
Yeah,
any
because I want to say because in
yeah.
my mind I was thinking, gosh, I don't even remember seeing I remember seeing your wife there.
Yeah. Well, I was out back. I wasn't in her shop.
Yeah,
She didn't have enough room for her.
I know it's small.
So I was out back. There's some shed shack or whatever back there that I don't know what they used it for as a restaurant, but
That
I
was
hope
your
they
place.
didn't keep food in there.
Y'all did a good. Y'all got a nice place over here.
Oh yeah, that's great. It's
beautiful.
great.
Yes.
Yeah.
She can display all her stuff. It's nice.
Yeah. I think I'm going to get evicted though because I think she's talking about expanding.
Oh no!
Someone's getting kicked out.
Oh gosh!
So I'll hopefully get a van. I'm looking for a
Yeah, that would be
a
awesome.
Nissan I think it's an NZ200.
NV200.
Yeah, NV200, the little one, the Metro
Yep,
van.
Yeah.
yep.
Put that, and then I'll just change my address to outside 401 McLaughlin.
Good though. That's
There
all
go.
you needed.
Be sitting in the parking lot doing your
Yeah.
paperwork.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
One thing that I wanted to touch on too that kind of dates back to the 9 line and the suicide stuff is just the problem of mental health in the country. I think that's so important, and that's part of what we didn't touch on as much with the guys that wind up committing suicide and stuff that come back from war that have post-traumatic stress and things, is that mental health is so important. And just like with the opioid thing for injuries, I think the whole country does a lot more self-medicating than they do actually feeling the emotions that are real and that are just, part of being a human, and just having to accept and grieve for loved ones and stuff like that instead. And I'm just as guilty as anybody else self-medicating, but I think it deserves to be said, like, mental health is something that people haven't talked about a lot until recently. And so I think that's going to be really important to trying to get the suicide rates down and stuff, is doing more talking about your feelings and just
Therapy.
Therapy,
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree. If I can,
Go ahead.
Oh,
the soldiers are a different breed. We firmly believe for a very long time that we're immortal and bulletproof, and we can handle anything and we can get past anything. Not necessarily. I've known and know several who have PTSD, and they didn't mentally make it all the way back, and they feel they can deal with it. There's nothing. I mean, you force somebody to do something, it ain't going to happen. They'll do it because they have to, but they're not going to get anything out of it. And that's the thing, is to talk to them, get to know them, and just, and when the timing is right, and it's all in the timing. You can't just say, hey, yeah, your head's screwed up, get help.
Right. You have to say.
But
it, right.
it's timing, and the only way you know when the timing is right is if you know them, and it just
Right.
because we don't need help.
is
That's
it
what
because
they
they
We
think
really
that-
think we don't
Yeah,
need help,
correct.
and I've been retired over 20 years, and it's like I'm just getting to the point where I think I need help.
Yeah,
Yeah, oh, see?
absolutely.
I
bro.
think I need help. I think the L-theanine doesn't always work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, as
which is something my wife has been telling me for years, but
Right.
I don't listen to her because
Nothing's wrong with you.
I'm immortal and I'm bulletproof.
yeah.
That's right.
Well, I think soldiers are the, extreme end of that. But I think even as men, we're taught growing up that, women cry and women are the ones that, are emotional. And as men, we just need to suck it up and be a man.
You're
and
right.
Yeah.
You don't carry your feelings on your sleeve. You just pack that shit back and
Right.
button up your bootstraps. And
I think that's going away though.
There's a lot of feminine dudes out here.
Well, I don't know.
Dude.
I don't know if you have to go all the feminine route, but I think you have to have a vent. You have to have some way to get this out and get yourself flying and trim again.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Whether it's music or poems or writing or talking to a friend or a therapist, whatever it is, you
going
gotta
out
find
on West
an
Bay
outlet.
kayaking or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Oh,
you know.
yes.
Yeah.
Dude, stuff like that.
Yeah.
is nice.
Being outdoors does help out a lot.
Oh, dude.
Yes.
Being in
Sitting on the
nature is
golf course.
therapeutic.
So
Yes.
I remember when we were living in Pace, because last Friday was the first time I've been kayaking since I moved
Yeah.
here.
Carlton.
But I used to go out. To when we lived in Pace. I used to go out to Escambia Bay, which feeds into Pensacola Bay. For those of you who don't know,
Oh.
and I would go out there, and I'd get out there a little ways, and I would just sit there and look down towards the bridge, Interstate 10. I'd put in at 90, if you're familiar with the area.
Yeah.
And I'd just go down towards the bridge, and I'd sit there, and it's like, you get this feeling of insignificance.
Right.
Not in a negative, depressing way,
Right.
but it's like, yeah. And it's kind of good in a way. I mean,
Yes.
Because it's like,
Just watching all the
Yeah.
people that just
Yeah.
pass and
well,
pass
just
and
you
pass.
see these cars just going
Yeah.
across the bridge sometimes. It's like, and just nothing around you, just
No noise.
no noise.
Yes.
Except for me, I have tinnitus so bad that. But the water hitting against the hull of the boat, and it's like, I want to go down there. I want to paddle down there to the bridge. And that was an aim of mine is to practice it going down there. It had to be a one-way trip because I don't think I would have the energy to paddle back.
Yeah.
So somebody's gonna have to take the
You gotta
jeep
have
and-
somebody at the pickup
yeah,
spot.
somebody's gonna have to pick me up on the other end. But then the thing is, where can I get out? Because I didn't know what the terrain was
Right.
down there at the bridge. So, and then we moved here, and I don't think I'm ever gonna be able to do that. So.
There is something to that.
Oh, dude, there's plenty. You could go to Vernon.
There's a lot of good
Well,
spots out here.
I don't like going on Holmes Creek because it's too enclosed. The banks are too close together.
I can see
Gotcha.
that.
So it's got to be, it's like, and it's part
There's a
it's
lot,
part of the
man.
brain getting screwed up for
Yeah.
Right.
Look, I tell you where to go. It's weird how I said that. Anyways, Marietta, it's called Mill Pond, and so it's running. There's a spring at the very end of it called Blue Springs, and so basically,
Famous for scuba diving, by the way. World-renowned scuba
Clear
diving
water.
location.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Beautiful.
And
Mill
this
Pond
is the
is
craziest thing
world-renowned.
about it. It's super long, and it's very shallow, and it's not even a spring the whole way.
So they can't take boats in it?
but
Is
it's
that what
super clear,
Uh-huh.
and you just see all the seaweed and everything. It's honestly,
You say super shallow. What do you mean by that?
I'm thinking 8 foot.
Okay.
Oh,
I was
Yeah.
thinking he
you're
was
saying? Oh, okay. I'm
Well,
thinking 3 foot.
I've paddled in 3.
Yeah, I've had to drag my boat. 'cause
Yeah,
it's so
I mean,
shallow.
look,
I got a
certain
kayak, so it
spots-
doesn't displace a lot of water.
Certain
So I
spots
think
are
I've been in
shallower
about
than
3
others.
So
feet.
that's what you're telling is a beautiful.
Oh,
place.
dude,
It
it's
is.
honestly probably the most beautiful place in Florida.
Well, I was
Right.
talking. Okay, that's a stretch.
that's too far. I can't say that.
But I was talking to Reed, and he's a scuba diver, and he was out at Mill Pond the other day, and he said it's hard to find anybody to go with him. But that's what he said is that, like, if you go on scuba diving forums or anything, like Mill Pond is maybe top 10 in the world, they claim, for like scuba
Yeah.
diving, at
Oh,
least
sweet.
freshwater maybe.
Yeah.
But that's one of those crazy things, man. Scuba diving's like you go in another world. When they're cave diving
Oh.
and like there's ropes and, normally there's a line that goes out that's like a line that takes you in so you can kind of go along the line, and then it goes in about 300 feet. And then once you get to that 300 feet point, you're on your own after that. You have to tie off a line and swim in. But
Yeah.
it's just a scary thing, man. You're in the dark unknown, and
There's
hopefully
no
your
light.
flashlights never go out on you, and your line doesn't break. You don't start pulling your line, and then your line's in your hands, and you're like,
Oh, that's a nightmare.
and you don't
Yeah,
know up from
that's-
down. You don't know left from right.
There's some
like,
serious panic.
Yes.
and you're looking at your oxygen tank, and the PSI is like 140 or a quarter of the way left, and you're
Oh
like,
my
oh
gosh.
my
To a
God.
theater near you.
Yeah. I'm
Based
coming up
on
with
a true
plot.
story.
And this is how I lost my weird Uncle Kenny.
That's funny enough. That sounds like what a white person just does right off the bat. Just doing some crazy
I
stuff
wouldn't
like
even
that.
do it. I wouldn't even think about
I
it.
had a friend who scuba dived, and
I'd
just plain scuba diving. He said, they told him that, I mean, not even going into caves, just going under the water. He said, if you have claustrophobia, don't scuba dive.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
it restricts your
So,
breathing. You have to
yeah.
get used to breathing through a regulator and what
Right.
that feels like. Because I've been scuba diving, which is what like scuba diving without the whole suit, but you have an oxygen tank still that's attached to a raft and it floats behind you. And went along the coral reefs. It takes a good 10 or 15 minutes to even get used to only breathing through this regulator and the way it restricts your airflow. You have to breathe calmly and evenly. If you start freaking out, dude, and you're 60, 80 feet below the surface, and you've got to know how to equalize that pressure as you come up, because if you come up too fast, you know what can
Oh,
happen.
you'll pass
Yeah.
out.
I want to say I went
No, you
through a
get the
scuba diving
bends.
course when I was
Yeah,
getting
you
on
die.
tugboats.
You
I
did
want to
what?
say
Oh, the
when I was,
tugboat.
I was
Oh.
getting a credential and I had to take like a scuba diving course, but I've done it a lot. For some
You
reason,
went scuba diving a lot?
I've been I'm not scuba diving, but with scuba diving gear and like wearing it and like moving around in scuba diving gear. I've done that a lot.
But you don't actually.
In the water or out of the water?
So do you have an oxygen tank and you're
Yeah.
breathing? Thing? Okay, I'm like,
I was just-
I'm thinking he's just in a
Yeah, this is
wetsuit.
another-
Yeah, what y'all think I'm doing out
thinking
there?
you're just
You
at
think
home
I'm out there
getting
to
weird.
snorkel? Just snorkeling
You're just on
around?
the tugboat getting weird in wetsuits.
No,
man.
I got like some kind of merchant mariner's credential or something like that, and then I got another, and it was worthless. I didn't even have to get this credential to be on a tugboat, but you do got to get it to be on a ship.
Okay.
Okay, I got you.
And then I did it, and then it was easy though. It wasn't that hard. But you're talking about deep fucking water though, so
Yeah, I am.
Guys, I'm sure Carl's got to get home and eat supper.
I'm
His
sure I've
wife
gotta-
probably
What time is
What
it?
time is it?
It's about 5 o'clock.
I've got
Oh
to pee,
wow!
I got
Yeah.
My
Well, listen,
shop
it's
closes in
crazy.
15 minutes.
Oh,
folks. Are you going to pay yourself for this time?
I am, yes. I am.
Just milking it, boys.
well,
All right, Carl, go ahead and talk about your business and promote a little bit, and we'll
We'll wrap it up.
where people can find you.
Well, I am Pico Karl Forster at Wood and Key Locksmith, your Tri-County Lock Shop. I am at 401 McLaughlin Avenue, Bonifay, Suite E.
yes.
And I do all kinds of stuff. I'll work on your house doors. I'll change your locks. I'll clean out your locks if they're all gummed up, because people like to use graphite and WD-40, and neither one of them is a good lubricant.
Oh, I'm in trouble.
Well, graphite's a good lubricant as long as the humidity level's below like 5%.
That's Florida. That's impossible.
So I've got preventive maintenance programs on commercial and institutional doors. Get them trimmed up, opening and closing nicely. I'll rekey, I'll master key, and I'll install new locks and things like that.
That's awesome.
All right,
If
Carl.
I have to, I'll get into your vehicle, but nothing newer than a 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
Oh,
My opinion, the best locksmith in the Panhandle.
That's
that's
it.
right.
That's
I
right.
agree with that.
I agree
right.
too.
Well, thank
Yes.
you.
Well, look, Carl, thank you so much for your service. Thank you for the
Yes.
stories, the good times, man. I hope
Yes.
I hope you had a good time.
I did. Thank you for having me.
Hope you'll come back on with us sometime
Indeed.
and have some
Yes.
more good deep conversations and
Yes.
good times.
All right.
Thank you, Carl.
Thank you,
Thank
Carl.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you for your
Thanks,
service, too,
Pico.
buddy.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you, Carl.